Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is inspired, well, actually it's technically inspired by a playlist that I have on my phone, and I take my playlist very seriously. But the playlist on my phone is inspired by those videos that I think Teen Vogue used to do, where they would bring celebrities on and they would have the playlist of their life, and they would like explain why they picked the songs that they picked to put on the playlist of their life. And I thought that would be fun to do. I don't think Teen Vogue's done it in a while. If they have, I haven't seen them, but I used to live for those videos, hence why I made this playlist. So yeah, we're gonna go through this playlist and I'm gonna talk about why I would put these songs. I feel like the Teen Vogue ones used to be like 10 songs, but I'm just gonna be spitballing because I cannot pick anything to save my life. So every time I try to do a ranking video, there's always freaking honorable mentions because I just can't leave things out. So yeah, we're just gonna talk about the songs that are on my playlist and why I put them on there and why I love them so much enough to be on the playlist of my life. And these are in no particular order, they're just in the order of the playlist. So here we go. The About section for this playlist says songs that I can't live without and or relate to a little too much. I just love these songs. The first one is When We Were Young by Adele. That is by far my favorite Adele song. I think it is so beautiful, and I think it depicts a lot of my emotions about like nostalgia and childhood and just being, you know, in your teenage years, in your 20s. In a similar way, I also have In My Life by the Beatles. I don't think that this is my favorite Beatles song, but I felt like I needed to go on here because anytime I'm feeling sentimental, that's on the playlist. Next is Electric Love by Borns. This song is like one of those songs that I'm going to play for my kids and be like, Mom, listen to this in the car when she was 17 coming home from hanging out with her friends at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. I just love this song. It's just that song for me. I do have an Elton John song on here, and it is of course Tiny Dancer, because one of the best songs of all time, first of all, and number 2, I'm a dancer, and so growing up I was like, that's about me. Next is Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine. I don't even feel like I need to explain this one. Then we have Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. Also don't feel like I need to explain this one. The next one is an interesting pick because this is not my favorite Harry Styles song, which is weird because you think that this playlist would just be my favorite songs, but you'd be wrong. It's songs I can't live without. I don't even know, but it's Fine Line by Harry Styles. Every time I hear it, I just want to lay on the floor. Like, I just want to lay on the floor and cry and think about life, and I think that's why it's on here. We have Rivers and Roads by The Head and the Heart, one of my favorite songs ever. It's so beautiful, and it is connected to so many sentimental times in my life, and every time I hear this song, so many emotions come flooding back. Next is Suit and Jacket by Judah and the Lion. I really haven't listened to this song in a while, but when I was in high school, I used to resonate with it so freaking hard. It's like, I am not trading my youth for no suit and jacket. I was like, That's also why I really like this playlist, because I'm not gonna update it because it's like, I once thought I couldn't live without that song, which means that I still can't live without it. Next on the list is All I Want by Codaline. This was one of my I had like 6 staple songs my teenage years that I would play on my 10-minute drive home from friends' houses after hanging out in high school, and this was one of them, and so hence why it's on this list, because it just one of the most beautiful songs ever. Next is Good Old Days by Macklemore and Kesha. This one is just high school in a bottle. This song was also trending on TikTok when I was graduating high school, which granted I didn't have TikTok before graduating high school, so maybe it was always trending, but it takes me back. It really does take me back. I have another video on my channel that I can't remember what it's titled, but it's something to the effect of songs that take me back to the exact time they were released or something, or that I listened to them for the first time, and if that song's not on there, I did myself a disservice, because it should be. The next song is my favorite One Direction song, which when I tell people this is my favorite One Direction song, they're like, fake freaking fan, but I promise it literally is my favorite One Direction song, and it started my life. The music video, incredible. The song, there is just something about her. There is just something about her that gets me. Next song is The Only Exception by Paramore. This is also in that 6 list that I was talking about earlier I loved this song and I would listen to it constantly, and it still holds a special place in my heart. Next is My Wish by Rascal Flatts. This song is just associated with a very special little time in my life, and that's why it's on here. Then we have Saturn by Sleeping at Last. I adore Sleeping at Last. Like, I think everything that he makes is just so wonderful and so perfect. And this song, I want to tear up thinking about it. It is so beautiful. Like, so beautiful. Next is A Million Dreams from The Greatest Showman. Probably one of my favorite songs of all time. There's just so many like parts of me that I feel in this song. Yeah, and I need to rewatch that movie. Next is Vienna by Billy Joel. Again, no explanation needed. Then we have Mia and Sebastian's theme from La La Land. The song Nothing's the Same by Alexander 23 and Jeremy Sucker. I feel this in my bones. Also On the Hill by Ed Sheeran. That song was in my video that I was talking about earlier, because every time I listen to it, I am literally just in 2017 again. Like, it takes me back. And then we have Empire State of Mind by Miss Alicia Keys and Jay-Z. I'm always in the Empire State of Mind. So we have Let It Be by the Beatles, because it's something that I have to remind myself a lot of. Mirrorball by Taylor Swift, of course. I Miss Those Days by The Bleachers. I love screaming this song in the car. And I made this like end of high school video for myself, which is like a bunch of pictures. I think it's like over like 10 minutes long, and this is one of the songs that I used in it. Similarly, A Little More by Katie Turner. I also used this song in that video. Yeah. Then we have Hope You're Okay by Olivia Rodrigo. We have Sirens by Mia Giovina. Beautiful song. Theme from New York, New York by Frank Sinatra. Out by Mary J. Blige. Oh, God. I feel that song in my bones. The Climb by Miley Cyrus. Nothing New by Taylor Swift. I have talked about this song on my channel a lot, but there's literally a Taylor Swift song for every emotion, and this emotion I could never articulate until I heard this song. And it's like the feeling that if you're not successful by this age, then you're not seen as successful is so true. And Nothing New is just a perfect depiction of that. Song Soft Spot by Cloud, or Claude. I used the song in some sort of montage video that I made in college, and it just reminds me of college, so I put it on there. I Lived, but specifically the Glee cast version. Sorry. Then by Dodie. I will never forget hearing the song for the first time and being like, I'll never be 16 again. Where's the cameras? 3 by Sleeping at Last, because I'm Enneagram 3. You're on Your Own Kid by Miss Taylor, obviously. This Town by Niall Horan, which is not only my favorite Niall Horan song, but probably my top 10 favorites ever. Oh my gosh, this next one is I Hope You Dance by Leanne Womack. This song, very special to me. I literally saw a TikTok the other day where the tagline of the TikTok was my grandma and her best friend of like 60 years or something, and they were just like walking, and this is the song that was on the TikTok, which is so weird because I used to make like movie maker movies for my friends for their birthdays growing up, because I just loved doing it. And I made one for my best friend, and I used this song because it had the title dance, like it had the word dance in the title, and I was like, I'm a dancer, I'm gonna use that song. And it has just, every time I hear it, I think of our little friendship. And yeah, and even outside of that, this song has such good messaging. Like, I hope you never feel small when you stand beside the ocean is such a good line, and whenever I hear it, I'm like, oh, speak to my soul. Thank you, Leanne. Next is All My Love by Noah Kahan. This is just, you know, it's just the song. It just is. I freaking love the song Love You for a Long Time by Maggie Rogers. I had to put it on here. Then we have 2 Peter McPullen songs, and they are Come Around, which is my favorite Peter McPullen song, and then String Lights, which in my head, of course, are interconnected. But String Lights has some lyricism, particularly, that I just really resonate with. I have La Vie en Rose, because one of the greatest songs ever created. Foolish One, Taylor's version. You're Gonna Go Far, Noah Kahan. Rebs by Lorde. Guys, if this song doesn't like make you feel 17 and like you're on top of the universe, I just don't know what to tell you. Old Friends by Ben Rector. This is also one of those songs that I heard and I was like, because I am fascinated by childhood friends. I think it is just, I just could talk, I write novels on it, but like in the song he talks about how he could still find his friend's house with his eyes closed, and I was like, you know what, I think I could too. But like so much of our just growing up was lived in these places where that just doesn't happen in your adult life. So that song is so good. Footnote by Conan Gray, I feel in my bones. Just like in all aspects of life, like just being a part of someone's story, even if it's a footnote. Girl, oh my gosh, this next one, one of my favorite songs ever, probably top 3. I'm not even kidding. Beyond by Leon Bridges. Like whenever this comes on shuffle, I can't keep shuffling. I just listen to it. It is beautiful. It is going to be at my wedding. I don't know what he put in this song, but Leon, you need to tell me this song. Please listen to it if you haven't heard it. It is beautiful. I just don't even have words. Then I have Dinner with Friends by Casey Musgraves. That has been one of my new favorites that I've added to this list because I just appreciate how much it talks about just like simple things about people, like dinner with friends and how like crucial that is just for being happy and having a life. And then we'll finish off the list with Long Live Taylor's Version because it's my favorite song ever. So if this list tells you anything, it's that I just can't get over anything ever in my life and I'll never be unmoored by anything in my life. But yes, this was the playlist of my life. It was quite lengthy, and if you told me I had to pick 10, I probably couldn't, so sorry. But yes, the playlist of my life. Thanks Teen Vogue for giving me entertainment for years that inspired this list, and I'm sure I'm going to be mad at myself that I forgot a bunch of songs that just never made their way onto the list when I listened to them, but that's life, and I would love to know the playlist of yours. Bye!